Celiac disease, there's a lot of different tests for it. So people get marker tests for it to see if they actually have the gene for it. And then they can do blood tests, and they're very sensitive. So sometimes you can get false positives. Many times you can get false negatives. The only test that will 100% confirm whether or not you have it is by doing a biopsy of your small intestine. And basically we have these villi that look like this, and this is what your small intestine should look like. And when we have celiac disease and we've been eating gluten, and that's the only way that you can actually go get tested is that you've been on gluten, because it can very quickly go back to looking like this. So if you've taken yourself off gluten without actually a confirmed biopsy test, then it may be a false negative. So just make sure you stay on gluten until you do have that test. And so it looks like this, and they'll get all not nice looking. And that's really what happens. The villi become really messy looking, and it causes a myriad of symptoms. So some people get tired, many people have GI symptoms, and kids, their growth is halted. There's many different symptoms. And nowadays it's something that doctors really look into pretty closely when other tests come up negative. And so it's pretty easy nowadays to keep gluten-free. There's a lot of gluten-free foods. There's a lot of stores and food stores and bakeries that are gluten-free friendly, and is really great. And so many grains are gluten-free as well. Today I'm making a quinoa bowl, and I love to use the tri-colored quinoa just because, first of all, I think it's prettier. I think it's very like fall and festive. So that's what I'm going to make, two different bowls here, just because I have two different dressings that I'm going to show you. So I'm just making pretty simple bowls. What I always like to do is I like to make crispy chickpeas, and that's what I have for today. So I have my base. I don't like to put too much of the base, enough. So I have my two different bowls here, and then I'm going to do some tomatoes in each. So chopped up tomatoes. I have some chopped up cucumbers.
Love that. Quinoa's pretty high in protein too, right?
Very high in protein. It's actually the only grain that's a complete protein, which means that there's 8 grams of protein. So rice, for example, there's 6 grams or 5 grams of protein. So in order to make it a complete protein, you need to add like beans with it, and that's what makes it a complete protein. But quinoa itself is 8 grams of protein.
On its
Here
own.
I have some crispy chickpeas, and I left them pretty neutral with the seasonings, only because the dressings I have, there's 2 different flavor profiles. So I really only just sprayed it and added a tiny bit of paprika and salt and pepper.
And do you use canned chickpeas for that?
I use canned chickpeas for this. I rinse them, I dry them really well. So this is my power bowl. And now I'm going to make 2 different types of dressing. So one of them I'm going to make by hand. The other one I'm going to make in my little dressing blender that I love. This is going to be a miso ginger dressing. You guys know I'm a really big fan of miso. 1.5 tablespoons of miso I'm going to do.
And that's white miso, right?
And this is white miso. Red miso is less mild. I always like to use white miso unless it specifies otherwise, but that's always my go-to. I'm going to do a little bit of honey, just about a teaspoon of honey. And again, I'm eyeballing all of this, but you guys do what works for you. Then I'm going to add a little bit of rice wine vinegar. Also about 1.5 teaspoons of that. Then I'm going to do some toasted sesame oil. About 1 teaspoon of that. I don't like to overdo it. And then I'm going to do some olive oil. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I have about 1 tablespoon or so of grated ginger. I grated this on my own. Some grated ginger. It smells so good already before cleansing it all. And now I'm going to blend it together, and you're going to see how nice this comes. The other one I'm not going to make in the blender because it doesn't have as much of these bulky, I would say, ingredients. I'm going to blend this together. I'm a big fan of using blenders. It makes it creamier. It's just like everything blends so nicely. It smells so good. It's so creamy looking. And I'm going to just put this over the first bowl. So good. And it's like delicious and super easy to make. You feel like you're in a Japanese restaurant. My second dressing, you guys know I love a good tahini. And again, these are all ways to add like some more healthy fats. And I'm all about that. So I'm going to do about 1 tablespoon of tahini paste. I'm going to do the juice of half of a lemon. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of water to thin it out. And this one, I'm just going to whisk together. I'm going to add a little bit more tahini because I got a little bit too much water in there, but that's fine. In this case, we can add more. Not always, as we know from Sam. I'm going to whisk this together. And this also came out super, super creamy and delicious. And that we're going to sprinkle over as well. And these are my 2 different power bowls with different dressings and super delicious.
Beautiful.
Both have a lot of delicious nutrients, and that's me.
I love how versatile those are too. It's like whatever you're in the mood for.
These dressings you can use on salads or whatever, but they're really good for green bowls. But this miso ginger, I'm telling you, you're going to think that it's from a restaurant. It's so good. Super
That's so
easy.
I'm actually making a chicken stew, and then I made like a little sweet potato bowl, and I just want to show you a quick recipe that you could just stick something in the microwave or in the oven and have it quick and delicious also at the same time, something a little different. But for now, let me just continue with the chicken stew, and then we'll go to that after. First of all, I browned some chicken. I just browned it, and then we're going to put it in there, but they say saute it first. You can use the same pot. I'm just really doing this for quickness. I have a little bit of oil in the pan, and I'm going to add some onions in there. And then we're going to put some mushrooms.
What kind of mushrooms do you have there?
I have baby bella mushrooms. I'm just put a little bit more oil in there. I have some celery. So I'm going to put some celery in there. This is a really hearty soup. It has got a little chili, like a stew. It's not a stew, it's a little thicker. Lots of colors, lots of root vegetables. These vegetables, they're gluten-free. The only thing that you have to watch out in this recipe for gluten is the chicken stock, but you can buy many chicken stocks gluten-free. But everything else is perfect for not eating gluten. Okay, so I'm going to put some carrots in there. That's all going to melt down. So I can have this on stove top, or I can put it in the oven. If I just want to chuck it in the oven and leave it in the oven, it's like a perfect opportunity. While that's going, I'm going to start adding my seasoning. I have some garlic here. Let me just crush my garlic quick. I have another gadget. It's quite quick, but you still have to do it a couple of times, I must admit. I still prefer meal prep.
Just have it all ready to go.
So I have bay leaf. Please remember to take these out once you're done. You can choke on them, so please remember, if you're going to use them, take them out after. So I'm going to put 2 bay leaves in. I have some fresh thyme. I'm going to chuck that in. And rosemary goes a long way, so we'll just do a couple of sprigs. One of my favorite herbs.
That smells so good too.
This is yummy. Here's a little bit of salt and pepper in there. And then we're going to add these. Once this is melted down a little bit, can you imagine the smell coming from this? Just think about the celery, onions, the garlic. Oh, really good.
Rosemary is one of those smells that I know you can use it all year round, but I associate it with autumn and winter a lot.
Absolutely, me too. So while that's cooking down, they're scoped up because I don't want to rush it. You really need to get it like soft before I start adding other stuff to it. We'll go to the other recipe that I have. Let's put the lid on it for 1 minute. So this is the other recipe I have. I have sweet potato, and I want to show you a quick way of really making a delicious lunch that does not take too long. We're going to scrape out the sweet potato. It's a little bit easier when it's hotter because it's more stringy, the sweet potato. So while here, I have some fresh dates. I have some fresh baby arugula. I have some pecans, and I'm going to put some goat cheese. Again, gluten-free. And then we're going to do a little bit of the zest of the lemon. Then we're going to do some lemon juice. So not too far down for lemon. And then we're going to cut this, use your claw, which I probably didn't do that. And then we're going to chop it up. I love this. We're going to chop it up, get it all mixed up.
Got the big knife out today.
Yeah, this is perfect because it really gets it small. And when you have a bit of everything in there, it tastes so good rather than just one thing if it's all mixed up. I bought some dates. So there's dates in there for sweetness. Almost like a dessert.
That's my kind of lunch.
This is a good lunch. Put it over your bowl. And that is your sweet potato.
Beautiful. That's gorgeous, Sam.
Nice full lunch.
Yeah, perfect.
Nice and warm. Let's go back to see if it's sauteed a little bit. It probably still needs a little bit more, honestly. I can put the potatoes in now. I have some potatoes here. Cut up a bit more. You can't go wrong with these little potatoes.
No. And it's one of those things too that you just split them in half or in quarters, however. There's not much chopping involved.
everything is just a rough cut. I didn't do anything like, why am I in a rush? There's no reason.
Yeah.
Like I said, this can stay on the stove, like
Totally.
or a hot top, or I can put it in the oven, whatever I decide.
And it makes your house smell good, so so
Yeah,
extend it
exactly.
as long as possible.
So I'm going to put the chicken back in there now. If you don't want to have chicken, you can just leave it like that and add your veggie stock. Right at the very end, you can also add like a leafy green. I actually didn't buy a leafy green this week. And some fresh peas.
Do those last because they don't take long to cook at all.
Do that. Now we're just going to add the stock. And that is it. You don't go too mad with the salt because it's a stew.
You're meaning for it to be thick. Yeah.
Exactly. And the chicken will fall apart when it's done. So, you know, as long as you get it to 165, you're perfect. So that is done. So let me show you the finishing of what I've done. I actually put it in pumpkins.
Oh, they're so cute.
So,
I love that.
so I have chicken stew in the pumpkins. There's your potato. And then
Beautiful.
core of the week is some kind of melon. It's not a honey, it's not a cantaloupe, it's a very yellow melon. They are so sweet and delicious. So, and of course, the sweet potato.
Beautiful. That is gorgeous, Sam.
We'll put the lid on. Look at that. We could put the lid back
Oh,
on.
look, it's wearing its little hat. That is so cute. I love that. That's wonderfully autumnal.